Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Buckeye Weekly Podcast. I'm Tony Gerdeman here, as always, with Tom Orr. Tom, how's it going?
Well, Tony, we're doing another one of our expectation shows, and usually we start these and I go, all right, I have a pretty good idea what we're expecting here. This one, I have thoughts. I have maybe some generalized, it might be something like this, but man, I don't have a real high degree of confidence one way or another on this show.
I don't either, because we are talking about Devin McCuin, the wide receiver transfer from UTSA, a senior, I believe a true senior, could come back next year, unless I'm wrong about him redshirting as a true freshman. But regardless, a guy that, as a freshman in 2023, 42 catches for 546 yards, pretty good. As a sophomore, 45 catches for 424 yards in 8 games. As a junior last year, 65 catches, 726 yards, 8 touchdowns. Now, this is obviously a step up. We know that. And the question is it too much of a step up? If so, what does that do to his production? The other question is, well, what if it is definitely a step up, but also he's going to be playing with better players, better quarterbacks. The focus is not going to be on him. You like to talk about the error bars, like 1100 to 200, something in there where it's just like, I don't know. And he's going to be competing with some other veterans for some playing time. But when we did this show back in February, I put the numbers together on my expectations and you etched them into stone. I don't know. You probably don't need to bring out the stone tablet because I'm sure you remember exactly what I said.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to guess what numbers I put forth back in February for Devin McCuin this year, season stats?
I'm going to say that you put out 45 catches for 600 yards and 6 touchdowns.
Way off, Tom. I said 41 catches for 537 yards and 5 touchdowns. And as I said that, we both said it might be a little conservative. So
Mhm.
the fact that you're thinking it's going to be a little bit more than that is, you stayed right on from what you thought about those numbers back then. The reason we're doing this again in the summer is because now we have the benefit of watching spring ball and seeing or not seeing really what we wanted or what we thought we might. Because really, I can think of maybe 2 plays that I remember Devin McCuin standing out. One was like a catch and run down the sideline, and another I don't even remember what the other one was, but I just remember, oh, okay, good to see Devin McCuin doing that. And that's not to say that, oh, he was a disappointment. The ball is going all over the place. Quarterbacks are going all over the place. But that has led me to wonder, boy, those numbers sure seem high to me now. And they may still be low based on what we've been talking about, but I know I have revised my numbers and they're not going to be that high.
And I think there's certainly a way that they're not that high. And I think there's certainly a way that they are higher than that. We got to watch about a third, give or take, of Ohio State's practices this spring. And it was not even that we were in there for the whole thing of all 5 practices that we got to watch. We got to watch the entirety of 3 plus the spring game. So there was one where I think we were in there for the first half and then left. And so, I am a little reticent to take what we saw this spring and say, this is exactly what he is, because there's a little bit of an adjustment. The passing game on the whole, I felt like we didn't see as much this spring as we did in previous seasons. And part of that was Jeremiah Smith was not doing a whole lot. And because they were trying to figure out, okay, what do you got with the other people? And so I don't look at Devin McCuin and go, 45, 600 or 45, 41, 450 or 550, whatever it is. I still don't think that's crazy high. And I still think that's probably about a median outcome for him. But man, Is it possible that Chris Henry takes a big step forward and he loses a bunch of, he loses snaps and he finishes at 30 catches and 350 yards? Yeah, it's certainly possible. And is it possible that he, really seizes that job and has more of a 50 or 60 catch and 750 or 800 yard season? Yeah, that's absolutely within the realm of possibility as well. Like I said off the top, my level of confidence in, I know, I feel pretty confident that if I say this is going to be his stats, I'm going to be like plus or minus 5 catches and plus or minus 100 yards and plus or minus a touchdown or two. There are a lot of guys on this team where I feel like, yeah, I kind of know if he's healthy, what he's going to do. This is one where it's like, man, this could play out any of several different ways. And some of that's up to Devin McCuin and some of that's up to the other guys around him and how they develop and how they sort of adapt to the Ohio State offense.
Yeah, there's no telling, which is why we're here telling exactly what he's going to do.
That's what the stone is for. That's why we don't carve it into paper.
I felt much more comfortable predicting Brandon Inniss and what that production is going to be than this. And I will say about the spring, don't want to be too critical. They were working on a lot of short passing stuff.
Mhm.
And when you're doing a lot of quick screen passing and short passing, the receivers also have to block and everybody has to block out in space. And in the spring, it doesn't go well. So all of these quick throws that are supposed to lead to bigger stuff in the spring, it looks messy. And that's why they do it in the spring. They work through it, work through it, work through it. It looks better in the season sometimes. So that's one aspect of his game because he is good after the catch from what we've seen at his UTSA highlights. And like I've said before about him, he played in just as many games against ranked opponents last year as Jeremiah Smith in the regular season, I believe. So he's played against quality opponents, but again, I just no idea. And that's why I'm wondering, like, after seeing it, it's like, well, now I'm downgrading. And why? I don't know why. Because I didn't see him go crazy. So like if you don't see him go crazy, you're gonna have to dial it back. But again, didn't see anybody go crazy, really. Even all of the talk about Brock Boyd, when we got to see him, there's just a lot of short passes.
Mhm. Right. Yeah. Brock Boyd, you look at him in the spring game and didn't really jump out to people. I think there was a lot more hype around him early in the
Mhm.
spring, and then you didn't really see it translate to the field later in the spring. And McEwen was another guy where, yeah, you didn't, he had moments, but it didn't really translate. But it was not everyone else around him is doing stuff and he's not doing stuff. It was just, yeah, everyone was just kind of okay. And you look at his production against some of the better teams they played, 6 catches for 33 yards against Texas A&M last year, which is, I mean, yeah, that's good. You got the ball a bunch. You didn't do a whole heck of a lot with it. But then Tulane, which was a very good team last year, 8 catches, 90 yards, and a pair of touchdowns. So, you have seen him do this against pretty good opposition, but not always. And against Texas in his sophomore season, he was 5 catches for 27 yards. So, he's caught the ball against those teams, but the role he's playing for UTSA against those teams is very different than the role he's playing for Ohio State. You're probably going against the opposing team's best corner in a lot of cases, which this year, that is probably not going to be the case by and large. Jeremiah Smith is going to draw a lot more attention than you do. Your quarterback is also a lot better. Your offensive coordinator is probably a lot better than he was at UTSA. And so you have a lot more opportunities, but the quality of the players on the other side of the ball is going to be better, by and large, than the teams that you played sort of week to week in Conference USA. So all of this, man, again, I keep going back to the number of variables here that, how do the other Ohio State wide receivers, all the stuff I just talked about, plus how do the other Ohio State wide receivers kind of develop and fit together in this offense this year? There's just so many different pieces of information you got to try and put together to project this that I'm still kind of okay with the numbers we had coming out of spring, but I don't know that I'm any more confident. Most of these cases, I feel like, okay, we have kind of dialed our predictions in a little bit following the spring and going into the fall camp. I don't know that I've got any more confidence in my numbers now than I did back then.
No, and as I'm going to read some new numbers, I will say in the spring game, 2 catches, 10 yards.
Mhm.
again, who knows? So back in February, I said 41 catches for 537 yards and 5 touchdowns. I am revising that, Tom. I hope you've got an edit chisel and you can turn this F into an A plus because this feels low now. 27 catches, 384 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
I'm going to go over, and over on those three. I think, yeah, he may not get to the numbers we talked about in the spring. Like it's entirely possible that he falls somewhere in the middle, but I would say somewhere between those numbers and the numbers that we talked about in the spring is that would kind of be a 25th, 30th percentile outcome for him. If he kind of finds himself somewhere in the middle there where it's 30 catches and 380 yards or 400 yards, something like that, and 3 touchdowns, that would be, yeah, that's, those numbers are okay. It's not a terrible season, but it's not, that would be a little bit below my median expectation for him.
These numbers are almost like half of what Carnell Tate put up in 2024 when you had Jeremiah Smith and Emeka Ibuka, and they're going to be playing the same position. Is it outrageous to think that he could approach 52 catches for 733 yards and only 4 touchdowns? I don't think it is, especially when there isn't an Emeka Ibuka to take some of those snaps. But again, this is one where I'm not betting on any of these numbers on Devin McCuin. I'm not betting on Devin McCuin at all. But like the entire point of this show is the title's just going to be, there's every reason to believe he's a productive college player and he's going to be playing with better quarterback than he's ever had before and better teammates in terms of skill and all of that. So that will all translate, but it's just, I would have liked to have seen more. And until I do, I'm going to be a little cautious before we jump all in.
Yeah, and I think that's absolutely fair. This is a kind of just like watch this space, and you'll probably have a decent sense by the time September is over whether this is going to be the low numbers that Tony just gave, or the numbers that we had in the spring, or more than that, or somewhere in the middle. I have a feeling by the time you're through like the Illinois game, we'll probably have a pretty good sense for where he's going to fit into the rotation, what he can do with the reps and the pass attempts that he gets. I just right now you talked about your show title. Like I think the YouTuber face we've got to make for the thumbnails is kind of ooh.
Perfect. I will screenshot that and we will go with that. What do you guys think? What is Devin McCuin going to do this year? Let us know in the comments on YouTube, and you can let us know in the comments on your audio side as well. 5-star rating and review is always appreciated there. Tell your friends, tell your family. Most especially tell them about BuckeyeInsiders.com where you can find us now. We'd love to see you there. Thank you all for tuning in, and we will talk to you all later.